Alright, we are live. I do not have this set at the proper height. How's it going? Thank you.
You're welcome.
How's it going, guys? How are you doing today? Leo Diaz, Miami. Love you too. How's it going? I'm doing pretty well, I'd say. I'm doing at least okay. But not bad. I feel like I'm doing pretty well. Just getting into the swing of things today. I've got all the channel messages. Well, I got the channel messages that I was given to prepare for this live with, so I've got that. But we are, hey, Extra Small Popsicle, hey, LB Starling, I'm still awful at pronouncing that username, I'm so sorry. But the agenda today, pretty much we're going to do what just we've been doing the past few weeks, which is, because I was asking my guides last night, do you guys remember that cartoon that used to be a thing? It was like Pinky and the Brain. And I was talking to my guides last night. I'm like, okay, what should we do for the live tomorrow? And they're like, the same thing we do every day. Pinky, it was, they were just playing off of that. So probably the same thing we've been doing with the general readings, like just the general collective messages for everyone, the going through the elements, like the fire sign, reading for like the fire sign, sun, moon, rising, the earth signs, water signs, air signs, etc. We'll probably just do that and then see what else I'm guided to do after that and see what we'll do. Oh, I do remember Pinky the Brain. Yeah, that was a good one. So I do have all like the channel messages and stuff here that I'll be reading through. And then, of course, we'll delve into the readings for everyone as well. So let's jump in, unless there's anything you guys want to chat about today. Hey, Destiny, good to see you. Quick shout out to the moderators. Destiny, Texas Jess is also here a lot of the times. Leo Diaz, Miami. I tried your money abundance crystal grid and I feel like I'm on the right path. It's working. Heck yeah. May that continue. That's freaking awesome. I'm glad to hear it. And I hope things just keep getting better for you. And I'm glad that helped. So, hey Lori, hey everybody. Yeah, I'll just take a second to say hello. Actually, they want me to dive into the collective messages, so I guess I'll just get started, but I'd like to say hello. I appreciate you guys, and so what we're going to do for starters is I've got some channel messages just for everyone here. It's just general, it's collective, and I'm likely going to repost this onto YouTube once we're done, so if you're watching on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. So a good message that's just coming through for everybody right now for this reading, they just gave me the word uplift, but one of the things about this uplift, it's a little bit different than I think when I normally get the message of an uplift, is there are a lot of issues that are being shed. So there's a lot of like just temporary turmoil. One of the things they wanted to say, of course, and this is just pretty common message around this time, I'd say anyways, but humanity is ascending to a higher level, and as such there may be certain things you need to work out of your system to get there, so be ready. So there might be some unexpected turbulence coming up for this crowd is one thing I'm getting, but it's really like temporary is the main thing to realize. And sometimes I think it's helpful to have that as a message and have that in mind, like when certain things come up where it's just like, okay, we're actually uplifting to a better place, we're actually like ascending and getting to another level. It's just there's a few things working out that need to get worked out so I can get there, essentially. So oh, you're using, oh, sorry, I see what's happening. So that's like the first message that came through for everyone in general, for starters, essentially. So a lot being worked out of the systems, a lot of kinks being worked out of the hose, I guess you could say, metaphorically speaking, so things can flow more for everyone. But I'd say in a month or so from whenever you're seeing this, things are going to be flowing a lot better for you, is what I'd say. The next thing that they wanted to bring through for everyone, there are new dreams coming in. So if any ideas shatter, so especially if you had an idea to do something and it doesn't work out, they just show me a light bulb shattering. Or if there's something you're going for, it doesn't quite work out, so anything you're looking forward to doesn't happen, there is a new dream on the way. There is just a higher thing you are meant for. Not everyone is meant for the same thing. Follow your heart. Your soul is leading you in the best directions for you. So if you're moving towards something and it doesn't work out, there's just something better for you. And there showed me like a really weird visual, and I think it explains the message, where it's like, maybe you think you're headed to this particular destination, but before you can get there, there's like this ramp that's like in the way, but it's like a road, and it goes like above this thing that you were trying to get to. But if you follow this ramp instead of trying to like find your way to this thing you were originally trying to get to, it leads to like a better version of that original thing you were going for, or to something else entirely that's like way better. And maybe it takes a little bit more work for some of you to get there. For some of you, it's about the same amount. It's just a redirection. But essentially, if something just doesn't work out, there's like a dream you had and that crumbles or something like that, which I don't think your dreams are going to crumble. I think you're just going to get new dreams, honestly, to replace some of the old dreams if something just doesn't work out. So I would not be discouraged or disheartened at this time, especially if anything's been like just difficult or you feel like your dreams are out of reach. One, they're not, is one thing I'm hearing. Sometimes there's a timing factor if you've been trying to go for your dreams. Two, there are better dreams for some of you than like what you previously thought of. And sometimes your dreams like aren't what you think they are, is one thing I'm getting as well. Like maybe you want to be a famous rock star, but you would end up getting hooked on a bunch of drugs, and then your life would fall apart and your marriage would end and your life would be in shambles and you'd be in debt 20 years later and no one would know who you are. But instead of becoming a famous rock star, you become a famous R&B singer instead, and it's a lot more chill and you get all the experiences you wanted to have being a famous, like, I don't know, rock and roll guitarist or something. But it's more chill and you have better people around you and it's just everything you hope for and more. I don't know, really weird example, but that's the one that was jumping in as I was talking about this message here. So in some ways, there might be some redirections in dreams or just new dreams coming in on top of the dreams you already have. But the main message, new dreams coming in for everyone. The next message here, lightning. They showed me lightning and they just gave me the message of storm energy. So they said there are a lot of internal storms being quashed right now, so be patient with yourself. It kind of links in with the first message with like the issues being shed essentially. But if you feel like you're just going through internal storms, just be patient with yourself. That's being resolved essentially. There was another message about stability as well that I thought was really interesting. One of the things that's manifesting for humanity is stability. It may not look like it. However, in the years ahead, stability will be a theme and something that comes in more strongly in the next decade. For many, you will find that stability is easier to get to in the years ahead. And that might not happen right away, is something they said as well for some of you. There might still be some other things coming in to work through or go through, but overall in the future, stability is where people are headed as a whole. And they did give me the color orange, which I thought they were going to go towards emotional stability with that, but they seem to take it into a stability in general kind of message. And I do get there is emotional stability coming, especially if you're willing to like unplug from world events and kind of keep to yourself a bit more in the coming months. That might be helpful for your own healing and your own process and focusing on you and bettering yourself. That might help the world more than like staying plugged into world events is one thing I'm getting for at least some of you that you feel that would be helpful for. A good message as well, just for everyone here, they just showed me an anvil and they just said heaviness is lifting. So sometimes regardless of world events, there is unnecessary heaviness people are carrying. Any unnecessary heaviness is lifting soon. Especially if you're picking up on other people's stuff or you just felt like there's been heaviness in the air for you personally, that's dissolving is something I'm getting. And you're not meant to be heavy. A lot of this group are meant to be the light and bright people who are uplifting humanity and just being light and bright beings. So one, I would recommend not taking on any unnecessary heaviness, and two, you don't need to have that, and three, that's lifting anyways is one thing I was getting for everyone as well, which is good. I want to see if there are any other messages just for everyone here before we move into the signs, because I didn't have like a ton for the collective general here this time, but we'll move into that here. I feel like I brought this through just the past few weeks, but if it's a reminder or if anyone's new here that needs to hear it, I do get a message that like there's like a storm is leaving, essentially, like just any type of collective storm. I feel like it's kind of, they're showing me like a weather report and they're like scattered thunderstorms or something like that. So maybe there's been like a few different ones. But it's kind of time for the storm to go is one of the messages I'm getting. So a lot of you are going to be getting a reprieve. It did come through for one of the specific signs as well, or the specific elements where there was like a reprieve from anxiety coming, but I'm also getting it for just this group overall right now as I'm talking about this, is just a lot of reprieve from like anxiety or things like that. So we already talked about inner storms healing, but they just I think storms in general are also kind of leaving a little bit, at least in your personal lives for most of you. They're also showing me black tourmaline, so let me see what the message is with black tourmaline for you guys here. It is a really good time to get grounded. I'm also getting a really weird visual of like making wishes to the earth. Like another way to manifest is like asking the earth to help bring certain things about, and that's another being you can turn to for wish fulfillment, for like doing energy work or doing things. So working with source and the earth might be a good idea is one thing I'm getting, because usually for me when I'm manifesting, it's ask and I will receive, or for you would be ask and you will receive. Like just ask source, and if it's for the highest good, it happens, essentially, is the way that it's been working for me for years. So, but working with the earth is another way to work on things, get wish fulfillment, etc. So for some reason they're bringing that message through, but I would also just focus on getting grounded. That might just provide some reprieve from like others' energies if you feel like you've been picking up on that a lot, or just the world stuff in general. And the earth can also be an anchor point with which you can bring through more divine information from source and be more of a conduit and have a solid base from which to provide that, is what I'm getting, interestingly enough, for anyone who needs to hear that. So getting grounded doesn't ever mean anti-spiritual for anyone who needs to hear that. In fact, it can actually be more spiritual because you're bringing spirit here, if that makes sense. Not that everyone needs to be grounded all of the time or anything like that, but for some reason it's an important. They just showed these black tourmaline chunks like poof, and like getting like really rooted in the earth, but it was like a representation of you is the way they showed that, and that's part of what they led into that message with, essentially, in case that's important to hear the visual for anyone. That's kind of it, though. They are showing me, I don't like this visual, but we'll see where they go with it. It might be a good thing. They are showing me a tank. It's like a. So let me see what's up with the tank here. It's just a reminder for you guys, whoever's seeing this, that no matter what's going on in the world, you are divinely protected. And I'm also getting this message of like, people have made it through worse. So no matter what twists and turns there are up ahead, I would know you are going to make it through, is one message I'm getting for this crowd who are watching. And I'm also getting this message like worse things have happened, not to take away from anything you are or will be going through. It might just be a way they want to put it in perspective. Like it might seem like the end of the world sometimes, but it's not, is one thing they're saying. And way worse things have happened on Earth is something they're saying as well, to put it in perspective. So, and I'm not saying like, oh, you should be grateful that XYZ is happening instead of this other way more terrible thing. I think it's more just like a way to see things are lightening up, and even through some of the darkness, there is a light at the end of the tunnel with it, and you're not going through the worst things that have ever been experienced, hopefully, which is good. So every time the message is about crazy shit in the collective, sure enough, some shit pops off. Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's one more message here. They are showing me a grasshopper. Grasshopper came through for 2 out of the 4 elements today as well. So I want to see what grasshopper is for the collective here, as far as everyone here. There is this message of just a lot of things changing really quickly, because there's this grasshopper and he kind of like jumps over here. They're almost showing it to me, I don't know how to describe this, but I suppose the visual they're showing me, it's almost like a screen that, you know how in movies they'll like have this effect where like the camera like shakes when some like action scene happens. It's like this scene is like shaking and this grasshopper is jumping to the left, he's jumping to the right, and it's kind of hectic, and he's taking these jumps back and forth and in this kind of roundabout way. And the message I'm getting is there's a lot of things that might be changing like really quickly, like even in your personal lives is something I'm hearing. Like over the next few months, I want to say, maybe like the next 3 weeks is another time frame I'm hearing. It's maybe a little bit different for each of you because you're all on different paths and different things are happening, etc. But I feel like if you let this shake up happen, or if you're willing to like, if these, you just kind of like these things shift really quickly, it really leads to better. And I, you know, of course the universe always wants what's best for us anyways, but that's what I'm hearing. So that's what I'm going to say. And I don't know if I can, I can't just pull things out of my butt besides what I'm hearing. It kind of be just, it wouldn't make sense, but it wouldn't work. So that's just, I'll just say what I'm getting. Good to see you too, AZ Jules. So let's see what else. Let's see. So we're gonna go to the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising next here. So I hope that all just made sense and resonated for the general collective messages for everyone right now. One thing is this for everyone or for the fire signs? Because I just got a visual here. It's for the fire signs. So if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, I'm going to wave so I know when to timestamp it. This is for you when you see it. Hey, Lainel, how's it going? Or Lainey. You did not miss air, baby doll. That is coming in the next couple. We just started with the signs, so we're going to do fire, earth, air, and water. So we're just starting with fire just now. But if you have a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, it's for you when you see it. I'm going to wave again because I didn't start the reading when I first waved. So jumping right in, one message I was just getting was they were showing me a bird and I was getting the words take flight. A lot of you, not just the fire signs, like that's gonna be a theme in the coming months, is like either baby bird leaving the nest kind of thing is what I'm seeing, or so like you might be leaving a job, or not all of you, don't freak out. You might be like leaving a certain situation and it feels a little uncomfortable, but a lot of you are being called to take flight soon if that's something you need to do. And again, not just for fire signs, this is for a lot of you who are seeing this. They just keep giving me this visual of like these flight plans that these birds have, these flight paths just are like redirecting essentially. So there might be a bit of like just taking flights, like launching of projects, launching of relationships, exiting certain things, and just going on these flights, and like these shifts and changes in the flight trajectory as you go about this is one thing I'm getting, or as things go forward. Ultimately though, it works out is what I'm getting, so that's good. But it's time to take flight for probably everyone here, not just the fire signs. But as far as what was specifically coming through for the fire signs, one of the themes I was really getting for you guys right now was just healing and overcoming. So the other really big message that came through for the fire signs was like, you guys are going to be on a fast track. So there's going to be a really big boost to your path. Like the words they gave me were a much faster trajectory unveils itself, and you will be moving forward much more quickly. You are also headed to a victory long term is something I'm getting as well. So things are just going to be just a faster track towards success is one thing I'm getting, like things moving forward more quickly. And it reminds me of like, I think it's Disney, is it Disney World, that you have like the regular wait for the line on like a ride, like an amusement park ride, but then there's like the fast track lane and you get like the fast pass and it's supposed to be like way faster and you can like cut ahead of the line. And if they don't have that at Disney, I think they have it at certain Six Flags, like Great America locations. But that's almost like what they're showing me for you. It's like you've unlocked the fast path for a lot of what you want to be doing. And maybe even if it's something that will take you years or something that will take you a while, it's still faster than like the original way is something I'm getting, interestingly enough. So I feel like there's just faster ways being unveiled for the fire signs, whether that's in relationships, whether that's starting a business or a career or like a goal or dream you have. Could even be as simple as like exercising and losing weight. Maybe you find the diet that really resonates with your body, and you're like, oh, I love this food and it's easy to eat and I'm losing weight and I feel great. It could even be something like that, but pretty much just a faster trajectory forward for you guys. Some of the next message really was on track with that as well. They just showed me a cannon, like like back in the day, like pirates would have cannons on their ships. And they just said, you guys are being launched soon. So if things have been slow leading up to this point, they are not going to be slow soon. And cannons, it's pretty much an object going from no motion to a crap ton of motion when it's launched out of a cannon. So I'd say that's what's coming in. I'm getting that's what's coming in for the vast majority of you fire signs, sun, moon, or rising, tuning into this. The next message changed gears a little bit. They showed me a marshmallow, and the message was, they just gave me the word softness, and they said, you guys are being shown how to be gentle with yourselves and to be gentle with others. And I know not all fire signs are necessarily like fiery personalities. Some of you can be introverts or really shy, I know. But for some reason, they wanted to give this message of they do not always need to be fiery or hot-headed. So for those of you that feel like you're a fiery personality, you don't always have to be that way. So you might be, in a sense, being shown a way to control the fire or not. I don't know if you want to curb it necessarily, but use it in a more controlled way. And it's kind of the difference between a wildfire burning everything down in its path and, maybe what's an example that uses fire? I want to use the example of a steam engine. I don't know if steam engines, I don't remember if they use fire or not, but that's what is popping up. So it's like you have like a fire that's controlled and it's operating this purpose, if that makes sense. And it's fulfilling this purpose instead of just burning everything in its path. Though I know wildfires do serve their own purpose in a sense, because it's like this rebirth. You burn everything to the ground, the forest comes back 10 times better. I get it. At the same time, I think there are times to curb or control the fire and use it in a gentle way that heats the kettle instead of burning the house down. So the main message I'm trying to get to with that whole speech is that it's a good idea to be soft, and you're being shown to be gentle with yourselves and others, essentially. There was just a random message there, just like, don't give up, fire signs, don't give up. I'd say, like, no matter the obstacles or challenges that come up, even if there's just a lot being thrown in your face, or if you feel like there's a lot being thrown back at you, is something I'm hearing as well. Like, really don't give up right now. I also am getting this message not randomly. I'm also getting this message as I'm going through this. They're giving me like the calm before the storm, that phrase, but then they're like, but you're the storm. So let me take a second to get this message before I open my mouth here. So can I get the full message, please? One of the things okay, one second. If you feel like you've been calmer than usual is one thing I'm getting, or you feel like things have calmed down, it might be time for like you to bring the storm soon, if that makes sense. So if you feel like there's a calm period, you might be about to bring the storm in your life. But I don't think this is a bad thing necessarily, you bringing the storm. I feel like this is like to create great change. I feel like this is like you moving towards your purpose as something as well. So you bringing the storm is like you causing the change you need in your life, and not necessarily taking no for an answer, but in a healthy way is what I'll say on that one. So you might be about ready to steamroll some of the things in your way in life, and it's kind of time to do that, is something I'm hearing as well. Another message I'm getting is just like, don't let people just talk in your ear and like dissuade you from what you want to do or what you know is right for you. It's a really good time to go within and get those messages either from your spirit guides if you channel, or internally from your hearts and like your guts, and like move forward and be self-directed in that way. unless you have a really trusted advisor that's always accurate and always right and really helpful for you, that's fine. But I would use that as a supplement to your own guidance and like use that fire to fuel your forward momentum. Not a good time to let people talk in your ears and like talk you out of relationships, I guess you could say, or talk you out of your path and your career and what you want to do. Really important that you're self-directed right now at this time. Or, you know, conversely, maybe you want to leave a situation and you don't want to let people talk you out of leaving that situation. So a lot of ways that can show up, but that's what I'm getting for you guys as well. The next message I have for you, maybe they were just playing on the word of marshmallow that they brought through before, but then they showed me like a marsh. And maybe they'll explain why this makes sense. But the message they brought through following the marsh was, if you are willing to dive into your depths and heal them, things around you are going to improve much more quickly. So it might even be a good idea to take a deep dive every day for like 5 or 10 minutes and ask yourself, like, what do I need to look at? Or like, what do I need to see? And another idea might just be to ask the universe for healing every day for like a month straight. Ask for healing from source, the universe. And definitely take a look at like your root chakra right now is something I'm getting for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. I feel like this has been just a message that's popped up over the past like year or so anyways, but it's coming through again where there might just be a lot purging regarding the root chakra right now. And even like about your own like identity and self-identity, you might wake up and be like, who am I? Like, I'm not sure who I am. Sometime is something I'm getting near the time of this reading, near the time of you seeing this reading, excuse me. So I'm not sure why that's popping up as well, but if that does happen for you, this might just be a side message for whoever is experiencing this. If that does happen for you, one thing I'd say is like, don't worry about it too much. Like, just be okay with being undefined, and like your identity will find you at the right time. And sometimes you have to take off one article of clothing before you put on the new article of clothing, the new identity. So it doesn't always make sense to wear like 23 layers of shirts because you're afraid to take off the old one. And so sometimes there's a bit of a shedding of identity before the new one comes in. Like, be okay with that in-between period and know you're still you and you're not lost in the universe's eyes, even if on the human experience you feel lost. But that being said, the main message was just be willing to do some deep dives and ask for healing. And if you're willing to kind of do that and like dive into your depths, I feel like there's going to be a lot of really good things coming in for you is something I'm getting. They're also like showing me like a promise ring and giving me the word promise. So I want to see what the heck that's about really quickly here. This might not be for all of you. Again, this might be for a few of you, but if there are like good things that have been like promised to you, like whether by another person or by like the universe in some way, shape, or form, like I do feel like they're going to happen. And I feel like even if that promise falls through, like the person who promised it falls through on their end, like someone else will be able to like fulfill the promise. Like, weird side message, but I don't know, whoever needs to hear that. Next message. One thing I'm getting for the fire signs as well, there's a lot being cleaned up for you guys. So if things look messy in your life, know it's being resolved and things are going to be a lot cleaner like next month, even from whenever you're seeing this. So if things have just been messy for you emotionally, or even if your house looks messy, I feel like things are just going to get cleaned up next month for you in your life. I don't know if I can promise your house is going to be clean, but I feel like in your life, things are going to get cleaned up essentially. They did show me like this other message. They showed me like a ship, like a great ship or something like a ship on the ocean. And this message was actually about like ancient healing, interestingly enough. So there is a lot of healing that's been underway that's on like a deeper level, I'd say, or maybe even behind the scenes that's about to wrap up for you guys, especially like ancestral, like with ancestral healing. So as that wraps up, this is part of where the forward movement comes in. So I'd say like part of your forward movement and being launched forward that came through originally, part of that is because this healing is being wrapped up. And I also get you guys are being taken to another level of your healing. So it might be you complete a layer of a level of healing, and then you kind of level up, and there's a little bit more to delve into, and that's okay. And sometimes we take these things by levels. Like we heal a level, we level up, we heal the next thing, we level up. So don't get disconcerted. I think if you look at it kind of like a video game and leveling up, it might be easier to stomach is one thing I'm getting. And one thing that's coming to me really weirdly, randomly right now as well is a lot of people see like video games and leveling up as like fun. So maybe there's a way for your healing to be fun and for that progress to be fun as well. If staring at a computer screen and watching pixels level up is fun, maybe our deep inner work can be fun too. I don't know. Weird thing they're saying as I'm sitting with this, so that's something I'm getting as well. Random message as well that came through. They just showed me lettuce, and there was just a reminder to eat clean, or just to consider eating clean or cleaner at this time. I feel like that would just help your mental clarity and acuity and just help you make better decisions in life in general. Weirdly is something I'm getting. So I try to eat clean as well for the fire signs, sun, moon, and rising. That's it. Well, there was one more message. They showed me like this ancient pillar of some type, and they just gave me the word strength and said you guys are strong. You also might get a level up to your strength at this time period is something I'm getting. So I don't think things are going to get more difficult. I think it's more like crossing a threshold of strength where you're strong enough where things get easier, if that makes sense. There was an analogy that came through in a later sign that they are not wanting me to get into right now, so I want to see what they want me to bring in particularly for the fire signs right now instead. Okay, I would know you are strong, and if any of you have been like testing yourself on that, you don't need to keep testing yourself. That might just be for a handful of you. But for the rest of you, just know you can handle anything that life throws your way is something I'm getting. And that doesn't necessarily mean wish for bad things or ask for bad things. It's just a reminder of your strength. So you know you can make it is what I'm getting. So hope that makes sense for you. They are showing me a starfish as well as I go to wrap this up. And starfish usually to me symbolizes rapid healing or recovery, but I want to see what the specific message is for you with starfish regarding that. The way they're actually showing it to me for you is a recovery to your life. So if you know how starfish can have like their arms like cut off and then they just grow back a new arm, but then that other arm grows back an entire new starfish. So like they're really good with the healing and recovering thing, but they're almost showing me this analogy where it's like, if you feel like a part of your life is missing or has been like cut off, it's like, I feel like that's just going to recover or regrow, but like 10 times better than before. So maybe, for example, I'm not saying this is all of you, it's just an example. If you lost a job, for instance, you might get one that's like 5 to 10 times better than the original one. Or if a relationship fell out of your life, you might get like a way better friendship or something else that replaces that limb. That's maybe, you lose a friendship, but all of a sudden you get really into art and creativity, and then all of a sudden you're a creative mastermind, I don't know, and you're just loving it. So that's something I'm seeing as well as like this recovery to your life, weirdly enough, especially where like things have been missing. So hope that makes sense. We're going to move on to anything else? The last thing they're showing me for the fire signs is a falcon, interestingly enough, which, let's see what that's about here. I really feel like this is just reiterating an earlier message where if you feel like things have been slow, they're not going to be. They're also giving me the word, again, victory. So, one second. I'd say you guys are just headed towards a victory is what I'll say. Like they're just showing this falcon swooping down really quickly and like catching whatever it catches, its prey. So I'm also getting a weird message, like you guys are going to be getting some rewards in your life pretty soon, just either for past efforts or things like that. So that'll be coming in the next 6 months is what I'm getting. So, okay, we're going to move on to the earth sign, sun, moon, and rising. Otherwise, I could just sit with what's coming through all day probably. So I'm going to wait so I know when to timestamp it. that's hugely helpful. Glad to hear it. That's why I do this. Thanks, Lainey. I appreciate it. So we're going to move to the Earth signs, Sun, Moon, and Rising and Wave, so I know when to timestamp it for YouTube, if that is hopefully that's helpful for me when I'm editing this. And we are just going to roll through the messages for the Earth signs, Sun, Moon, or Rising for you when you see this. Of course, if you're live with me now, it's for you now. If you're watching it on YouTube, it's for you when you see it. So one of the themes that came through for the Earth signs, redirection was really the first big message that came through. So but they were saying like big redirection and big redirection energy. So the way you're putting your efforts in may change completely, but I'm getting you will enjoy it. So you might have, for instance, an example would be a complete career change. It could even be like hitting another level in this particular relationship is another example they're giving to me for you guys regarding this message. So let me see how else I want to bring this through, just so in case you need more information on this. Just know things are going to be redirecting in a big way. Like you might have a big business and then start another business, or you might completely change the services you're providing in that business is one thing they're showing me. So just know things are going to change and redirect in a really big way. The next message really played off of that as well. They just said, let go, let go, let go. So it's a big time to let go and let things change. They showed like a visual of like a ship again with there was like a pirate captain or just like a captain on the ship. And they were just showing this captain just letting go of the wheel on the ship and just letting it just like turn. And this wheel just like turned and this ship just like completely changed directions and went on the proper course actually. And then they were showing like it'd be really difficult to fight this ship turning. Like they showed the captain and he had his whole like body like pressed up against this wheel trying to keep it from turning or to turn it the other direction. So it might not be a good idea to fight the flow right now. It might be really difficult. So if you're willing to just kind of like let go and let the current or the wind take your life and ship where it will, so to speak, it'll take the boat and you to the proper location essentially. So I'd be really willing to just let go. And right now, and that doesn't mean don't take action. Like if you know part of this redirection is you taking action or putting work into something, like yes, still put work into the thing or the redirection. But really let it go where it needs to. I would really not try to control that right now just because I feel like there might be a bit of danger regarding making the wrong move and like trying to force the wrong move. I feel like there's a lot of divine protection in that. It's going to be very difficult for you to make the wrong move is something I'm getting as well. Like it'll be very difficult for you to steer your ship into the rocks, so to speak. And in the visual, like the ship did have like large rocks around it, like as this captain was steering the ship, or at least it seems like that. So, and I do get the message you don't need to worry. They're kind of flashing me some warning signs and not for you, it's for me as far as the way I'm bringing the message through, which means I need to take a second and listen and make sure I'm saying this properly. So 1 second. Okay, the way they're simplifying it, they're just getting it back to the basics of the message, like just let things redirect essentially. So I think you know what I mean. I don't need to keep harping on this. The next message here is pretty much very similar to what I've already been saying. There is a predestined path for you. Now is one of those times where the universe takes over. So sometimes there's times in life where, well, let me see what they want to say about this. There's just certain times where the universe takes the wheel, and this is one of them, is what I'm getting for you guys. And then for some of you, this is for the next while. It's like an entire year. For some of you, it's more like a month. So just let this time period play out, and you'll know. I think you'll kind of know what I mean, or you'll know when to put your hands back on the wheel, essentially, or be guided in that effort. The next message, they just gave me a message of overcoming. So I feel like any obstacles you guys are coming up against are like just last ditch efforts. And by last ditch efforts, it's almost like, when you're, I don't know, if you were like a football team playing football in the fourth quarter and you're winning, like the other team might just have some like last ditch efforts that they're putting in to try and like keep you from winning or to tie the game to make it go into overtime or something else. I really get that's not going to happen for you guys metaphorically in your life. Like you're going to overcome these last ditch efforts with like ease, essentially. Like you will overcome them shortly. They're almost like, I also see them, you overcoming them as like a breeze for you guys. The other message that came through is like, not everything is meant to stop you. Some things are meant to teach you. So some of the obstacles that do come up might just be like little lessons, or you might not have gained certain wisdoms if they hadn't popped up, is one thing I'm getting as well. I really don't think you need to worry about these obstacles. I think it's more like if you were kayaking in a river and you just have to like go around a rock. It's not so much like climbing a mountain. Obstacles is what I'm getting as well. Just, and they really don't want you to worry about this, but I think part of the reason the message is coming through for you guys is I think sometimes when there's too many obstacles, or you're just like, oh, another thing, it's like, it can be easy, like how much more of this do I have to put up with? Like you might get discouraged. I wouldn't get discouraged. I think these are just last ditch. Well, I don't think. I was getting the message they're just last ditch efforts. It'll be a breeze to overcome them. So I wouldn't worry too much about that as well. And for some of you, this would be really good. You might even just see the last of certain obstacles in your life. Like an example would be like, maybe there's a boss at work that's always just made life heck for you, and they're quitting or resigning, or I don't know, maybe they're actually getting a promotion, but you never have to deal with them again, is something that they're showing me as well. So not that they deserve their promotion, mean bosses, but never mind. And don't worry about that if that does happen. I think, the universe has a way of making sure people get what they're supposed to get. But what I'm trying to say is some of these obstacles that you're overcoming is like the last of that you'll see. So let's move to the next message here. There was a message similar to what just came through of like new effort is what they said. So if you are willing to come at things with a second effort, and I'll explain that in a second, you will succeed. So if you're willing, if you go to like try something and it like doesn't work out, just like try again, and like it's gonna work out essentially. Like don't just give up after the first obstacle or the first like thing that comes up. So don't give up after the first try is one way to explain that. So if you're willing to try again, you're probably going to succeed. Second effort to me was this term I heard when I was a kid playing Little League baseball, and I never heard it again. So kudos to that coach, I guess. But his definition of second effort, or what he'd pointed out as, would be like, maybe you're in outfield playing American baseball, and the ball is hit like really far from you, but you still like run and try to go catch it. And like, even though you think you're not gonna like actually catch the ball, you still try your hardest anyways, and like give it that effort. And it's like, one thing that showed up with that was like, sometimes the play could actually be made. Sometimes it's like, even though they didn't make the play necessarily and catch the ball, they were like really close, and like closer than you would think that person could get to making that play. And who knows, maybe that stretch is something that makes them better for the next play, and they can start to make those plays that used to take that second effort. But I don't know, you might surprise yourself. But if you're willing to keep showing up and be determined and give things your second effort, regardless of circumstances, you might be surprised what you can overcome, and you will be successful, is the message I'm getting as well. Regardless of the definition of second effort you use is what I'm getting as well. So either keep showing up or just do your best. Next message here, they showed me Doritos, and there was just a reminder to recommend that you stay away from processed foods if you feel like that's right to you, and try to eat clean. I do get it will be helpful for you and just your system in general. And another message I'm getting really randomly is, if you're processing a lot, even if it's emotionally, sometimes, or if you're just processing a lot energetically, it can be helpful to eat cleaner and like give your body a break, so it's not processing more on top of what it's already processing, if that makes sense. Weird. That might not be perfect science, by the way. Maybe it is, but that's just, for some reason, that's a way they're bringing that message through, where it might be helpful to just to stay away from processed foods, especially if you're processing a lot already. Next message, they're showing me, this isn't me moving to air signs, they show me the concept of air as a message for you guys. And for you guys, the message with this was like things are going to be moving gently. Not everything has to be violent or drastic. So I know there is a message of just like big redirection and things like that happening, or just even like turning a chapter in your life is the way they're showing it to me as well. Turning the, or maybe even an entire section or portion of a book. For those of you who read big books and they have multiple sections to them. But let me see the best way to bring this through here. For some reason, the message I'm getting for you guys is things are going to be moving more gently for a lot of you, not as violently. And there might be, I want to see if they'll tie this in like in a better way so it makes more sense for you guys. So one second. The way they're saying it is like, just like know that if before there's been a lot of upheaval personally and like the changes have been really difficult, I feel like it's going to be a lot gentler for you guys. And especially if you've been rough on yourself regarding like forward movements, I would like just be gentle with the forward movement. And you might find it more effective than like trying to force things is one thing I'm getting, interestingly enough, as well. So think of it more as like a gentle breeze in your sails instead of like the typhoon hurricane, like picking your boat up and launching it across the sea, if that makes sense. Next message here is just, they gave me the word truth. They just said, you are going to be doing a lot of truth telling, speaking what you feel, what you are picking up on, etc. It's important you are doing this to set the record straight for others. The more truth you are bringing through, the better things will be. Be upfront with people. You will thank yourself. So they're saying you are going to be doing truth telling. I also feel like this is a recommendation to be upfront and like real with people and speak your truth and the truth, especially like intuitively if you're intuitive, but even if you're just like being honest with yourself and with other people, I feel like that could change your life right now is something I'm getting as well in like a positive way. And even if there's like a blow up because you're being honest or upfront, one, the blow up is temporary. Two, it still leads to what's for you because you're being honest and authentic. And I'm getting a weird message like the truth begets the truth. So like when you start to be more honest with yourself and do more truth telling and like more truth rises as a result of that is something they're showing me. But beyond that, like when you start to tell the truth and like be honest, it's like what you actually honestly want can start to show up more, I suppose is a way I could say it, because you're not dancing around everyone else's emotions and everyone else's points of view and everyone else's feelings. And I do think it can be a good thing to be honoring and aware of that and not just go steamrolling everybody regardless of how they think or feel or just because you want something. I think it's more like when you're real with yourself and you're honest, you just open that opportunity for things to go how they're supposed to go. I don't feel like I'm getting the words out properly, so I apologize. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say, where it's like, as you're honest, things work out the way they're supposed to. And it's like, I don't know, like an example would be if you're in a job and there's just all this injustice going on and there's all this like overburdening of the employees and you're afraid to speak up because you don't want to lose this job, etc. And then you speak up. And it's like two things happen. Either, well, maybe, well, there's more than two things. But a few examples of what could happen would be like, one, the changes actually happen and you're heard and you get more of like what you want. Two, they don't do anything and you realize they're not going to do anything and they don't give a crap and you leave and find a better job. Two, I guess like another one would be that they fire you and then you get a better job anyways. So that's just an example of what I'm trying to say, I guess. Next message here for the Earth sign, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Things cooling off in a good way. So if you feel like there's been a fire under your seat or like a lot of pressure on you, that pressure is about to come off of you. So you'll feel like you can move forward with ease instead of pressure for a lot of you. For others, you will just feel like things are more gentle on you, especially if you feel like there's been a lot of like compression or pressure is something I'm getting. Because you can kind of burn yourself out when there's constantly a fire under your butt or there's constantly pressure. Unless you're built for it and that's how you thrive and you're like purposely putting yourself in those situations because you love it. I don't know. that really depends on who you are. But I do feel like there's going to just be a bit more gentleness for you, and just where things have been heated in like a negative capacity, I feel like that's cooling off. So I feel like that's a good thing here. And well, what's this message here? I'm getting this message like, what's the best ways? I want to use different words than they're giving me, so I'm going to ask for different words. Can you please give me different words on how to say this? I guess the way they're showing it to me is like, you don't always have to be like running. It's like, you know, even like a computer needs to be turned off and on again sometimes, or your smartphone, etc. So sometimes you're giving these periods of reprieve. I don't think you will overwork yourself during this period, but I feel like that's kind of the way they're explaining the message further, in case you needed to hear that. The next message, they showed me a grasshopper. Again, grasshopper showed up a lot for these readings today, and they just said, it's time to take a leap. So don't hold back on making changes or changing things. There are a lot of leaps coming for you. So changes in career are examples, changes in finances, changes with people around you, etc. So don't be afraid and don't stay stuck. It's time to fly, is what they said. So big redirection. Don't be afraid to take leaps of faith in conjunction with those redirections. So if I were putting all of this together, or just ask if they would summarize it all so it makes total sense for you guys. And they're saying it already does for the vast majority of you, if not all of you, so maybe I don't even need to do this. But let me see if there's anything else they want to bring through at least, or what they want to say. Just know things are going to be divinely guided. You're going to know when to take those leaps. Some of you already know as you hear me talking about this. And a lot of these changes coming in are going to be blessings. I feel like if things stayed the same, you would be bored regardless of what you may think. So a lot of really big changes are actually going to be really positive for you is what I'm getting. Well, all of them will be ultimately, but that's just the way they're phrasing it. So, and just be gentle on yourself as things change is another suggestion they have. I think that's going to help you. Like, if you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself and big things are changing, there might be like a little bit of a collapse. Minor, I don't think it's going to be bad. I think you just might like have a bit of a breakdown for a day or something. So be gentle on yourself with all this. And even if things are all like positive, I think it still might be a lot, if that makes sense. Like, it can be a lot on the system when things change. I mean, sometimes you're ready for it and your body's already been preparing for it, like for the year, you know, leading up to it. And fun fact is, like, a lot of the times when we're going to be going through a change in the future, our body and our energies will start preparing for that ahead of time, and you'll feel that happening. So I feel like that's already been underway though. So you're going to start to see these things start to happen in the next month or so, or soon. So let's move on to anything else before we move on? They are showing me selenite before I move on. So what's up with this message for selenite here? I do feel like the earth signs are going to be connecting more and just more connected, like to source, like than even before. So a lot of work being done to connect you guys further and help your connection, both to other people, you know, positive connections to other people, but also to the universe and to source, to your highest self and intuition. So a lot of upgrades coming in, so be gentle on yourself there. Let's move on to the air signs, sun, moon, or rising. I hope that was helpful for the earth signs, sun, moon, or rising. So we're gonna move to air signs, sun, moon, or rising. I'm gonna wave so I know when to timestamp it. I'm gonna drink some like water and stuff. They want me to have some coffee that I was given at the beginning, so. Awesome. I really like coffee personally. I'll do some water too. Thank you, Luxury Bones. I appreciate it. Sammy Grace TV asked, is that why I'm so exhausted lately? I do get yes, actually. That's one of the reasons. Hey Tabitha, you did miss the fire signs. I will eventually upload this to YouTube. I know I have a couple to upload still, but I'll get there. I'll do it for you, Tabitha. I'm gonna write that down to upload this. Okay, so we're going to move to the air signs sun, moon, and rising. I'm going to wave so I know when to timestamp it. So fully for the highest good. If you have a sun, moon, or rising air sign, it's for you when you see it. So if you're seeing it now live, of course, it's for you now. Hi. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's for you when you're seeing it on YouTube. So first message here, they showed me a tornado for the air signs like the past 2 weeks or so, like the past 2 lives. They brought it through again, but I think they brought it in a different way this time, because the message this time, they almost showed it more like, you remember that cartoon character, like there was like Bugs Bunny and like Daffy Duck, but then there was like that the Tasmanian devil essentially, and he'd like turn into like this tornado and be like blah 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 blah, and he'd like do just crazy stuff like really quickly. In this instance, it was like he was kind of like rearranging things and like cleaning things up is the way they showed it. So if things seem like they are being rearranged in your life, air signs, they are actually being put into place, not like taken away, not ruined is one thing I'm getting. So you might have like a quick change and be like, oh my God, what's going on? And then it just like gets put perfectly into place over here and you're like, oh, okay, everything's good. Like, I don't know, maybe you have a difficult conversation in a relationship and you're like, oh my God, are they going to break up with me? But then it just like leads to the relationship being like way better is an example they're giving me. Or I don't know, maybe a friend leaves and moves away and you're like, oh no, what am I going to do? Who am I going to talk to? And then, I don't know, then you join a group and you make like 10 new friends. I don't know. So that's just something they're showing me for you guys as just examples on that. But something like that, or whether it's bigger or smaller, it's going to be happening for you guys. And I think for a lot of you, it's going to be bigger than the examples I gave. The next message they have, you guys are being given a clear path to victory soon. So things are going to be cleaned up so that you can move forward. They kind of gave me like one visual while I was bringing this through. It's just a flash of like walking down the aisle, like a marriage of some type. I don't think that's for all of you. That's where I'm like promising you're all going to get married tomorrow, and the love of your life swoops in like Tarzan off of a vine out of the sky or something like that. But what I am trying to say is if things have like really impeded things have impeded other things working out in your favor, that's going away essentially. Like you're getting a clearer path to victory, and they're almost showing it like they're giving me this like archery example, but it's actually more of a slingshot than archery. But like maybe you've been trying to hit this target metaphorically in your life, like a goal or a dream, but it's like every time you go to like take the shot, like you can't even see the target because there's like leaves and tree branches getting in the way. And so like you keep like trying to like make this happen, but you just have no clear shot. I feel like you're getting a clear shot, and I feel like you're gonna have a clear shot for a while. So it's almost like you're coming out of this tunnel of inopportunity, I guess you could say, in a sense, if that makes any sense. And I know some of you have been doing fine in life, but if you feel like things have just been obscuring your view, so to speak, or obscuring your shot to victory, that's going away, which is good. Next message here, they did give this message of, they just gave me the word together, and the message for the air signs is, with this part, is there are a lot of destined partnerships coming in for you guys. So that can be business, that can be relationship and romantic, that can be friendship, that can be in a lot of different ways. So a lot of people you're meant to meet are coming in for you. For the air signs sun, moon, and rising is another message that I'm getting for you guys. So I want to see if there's anything else on that they want to say, just more particular, if they want to narrow it down or give more detail. I'd say that's over the next few months from whenever you're seeing this. So I'd stretch it out to like maybe even a year or two and not just clamp it down to that time frame. I feel like it's just like the next phase, not the next entire phase, but there's just like this window where there's going to be more partnerships coming in or people you're supposed to meet. Especially like when it comes to your healing is something I'm getting as a side message for some of you. Like you just might be meeting people who are really healing and helpful to you along your path. And sometimes those people are temporary, where they just come in, the healing work happens one way, shape, form, or another, and then they're gone. And then someone who is more healed shows up in their place to fill that void, if that makes sense. So I don't think everything is going to be permanent is one thing I'm getting as well for all these people, but some of it will be. And for others of you, it's leading to the more permanent people down the road. So, but just know there's a lot of destined stuff coming up. And I know like the earth signs also got a message of like destined events and just like pre-planned things by the divine. So I think it's a little bit different. This is more about people and relationships, but just keep that in mind. Next message here, they pointed to your solar plexus, but it wasn't so much about like working on your solar plexus as much as about disappointment. And there's, what they said was, one second. Disappointment is fading. So you guys are getting a reprieve from disappointment, and more excitement will be coming online. So there will be more exciting things for you. Things will be more exciting for you. So just a good message where it's like, if there's been a lot of disappointment, you're going to get a reprieve from that disappointment. That's going away, at least temporarily. So you'll just have more excitement and things to look forward to, and like less disappointment. And there might still be certain things that are disappointing in the future. I'm not saying like disappointment is leaving forever and you'll never be disappointed again. And maybe there's some perspective changes or ways you're looking at things that if you change, that could be the a possibility for you. And I'm not going to take that possibility away from you. At the same time, I'm not getting like disappointments disappearing permanently from you guys. I just feel like you're getting a period where disappointment's more of a thing about the past, and like I feel like if you have future disappointments, it's going to be in like a different area. So if you've had like, what's the best way to say this? They don't want me to get too specific on this message, is something they're saying, maybe because it's more of a general reading, but I think I'll leave it with that, and hopefully I'm not. Okay, never mind. Let's move on. Next message here, you as well, I think this came through for the fire signs, but there is a lot of healing coming to the root chakra for you guys. So you guys got this specific message where like there's a lot of reprieve from anxiety coming for you guys. Things are going to start going your way more. It's a great time of healing for the air signs. I kind of already said some of these things, but just know like there's a lot healing with like the root chakra and things around the root chakra, which is going to be good. Next message I have, so if you feel like, okay, this was a really interesting message, so I'm just going to read it and then I'll just see how they explain it. But if you feel like the plug has been pulled on your life, it's actually just going to be replugged in somewhere else. So if you just feel like there's been a period, this might just be for some of you, where things all ended all at once, or just like a lot fell away from your life all at the same time, or you just felt really stuck, or you just feel really lethargic, or you feel in some way that the plug got pulled on your life and you're like, what happened? What happened to my abundance and all the good stuff? I feel like the universe is plugging it in somewhere else in like a better area for you, is something I'm getting. And maybe like this new plug-in has more metaphorical electricity, so like life is actually better for you guys. It was kind of like, seemed like an intense message, because it almost seemed like it was equated to like life support equipment in a way, where they like pulled the plug but then plugged it in somewhere else. So I could see how that would seem a little bit harrowing if you feel like that directly correlates with your life in any way, shape, or form. But I would just really say not to worry if you feel like some area of your life or your life felt like it had the plug pulled on it in some way. Really not to worry. I think it's really divinely guided in that process, and you're going to have the plug plugged in really quickly here in a better way. Next message here, they showed me like a grill, and I think they just attributed it maybe to like, you know, grill outs or cookouts, and they just said, you know, have fun, go out and enjoy yourself, don't force yourself to be serious. And they're giving me a weird speech thing, I guess, trying to say force to maybe make it more lighthearted and fun instead of serious, but don't force yourself to be serious right now, air signs. I actually feel like the more fun you're having, the better things are going to be. And I'm not saying go out and like party and drink every night. What I am saying is, like, what are the things that give you a frequency of fun, in addition to like the work that you're doing in the world. And another message I'm getting is like, if everyone were serious all of the time, things would be like really boring. Excuse me. So for your sake and everyone else's, I would go out and have some fun and just put a focus on that. And if you're not even sure how to do that, I would just sit and be like, what will it take for me to have fun in the future? One, you could just manifest it, just ask for more fun, ask for that frequency of fun. Maybe also like write a list of things that you typically find fun as well. And I'll get into it, I'll dig into it a little bit as well. I know like one thing I've encountered especially like getting into spirituality. Like what is fun for me has like changed a bit. For instance, I used to love video games and have like so much fun, and could I potentially still have fun with some of those nowadays? Sure, absolutely. But it's not in the same way. And the other thing about just being more energetically sensitive is like certain concepts like just violence in video games, or like even things like Pokemon like don't feel too great energetically, because it's like, you know, there's like status effects that you'll put on the Pokemon, like poison and stuff. As a kid, I really liked it, but I mean, I don't know. Even like in my early 20s, I tried like revisiting it, and I was just like, I don't know if I can do this anymore because it's just like it doesn't feel good. So maybe a drum circle is your idea of fun now, or maybe a meditation circle is fun for you. I don't know. I'm not trying to limit what's fun for you. If you still like video games or whatever, that's totally good. Keep rolling with it, but maybe sometimes you need to re-explore and rediscover what's fun for you and invite that in and let the universe show you. One of the last messages I have for you, they showed me just like a green, they gave me the word green, but they showed me like a plant leaf, and what they said is like, you're getting an upshift to your heart chakra, so you're going to be seeing more clearly. A lot is going to be coming into clarity for the earth signs, especially regarding your path, yourself, and everything. And it's almost like things coming into focus. It's like, what's the best way to say this here? Because the visual they're showing me makes a lot of sense, but I'm trying to get the go-ahead on like a good way to explain it. And sometimes when I take a pause, by the way, guys, it's like I have a way I want to explain things, but my guides are like, no, or they give me like a, hey, don't explain it that way, so I have to like sit with it a second. So 1 second, what's the message for you guys here? It's almost like if you were looking through a telescope with a lens that needed to be cleaned, and like you finally cleaned the lens and you're like, oh, that's what Jupiter looks like. I thought it was this furry, fuzzy blob, but it's actually got a lot more clarity to it now. So a lot of your goals coming into your focus, a lot of what you need coming into focus. I just feel like you're seeing clearly and having clarity. Do you guys, if you're in America, remember that commercial for like Claritin for allergies? And like they'd have this like someone like sniffling, and like it's like the whole scenery, they'd have like some type of either like what's the word here, filter on the camera to make everything look like dull and like gray, and then they'd peel it away, and after they took the Claritin, and everything would be clear, and there'd be butterflies and rainbows. And it's almost like they're showing me like that, where it's like you get that filter peeled away and all of a sudden it's clear. So not to give pharmaceutical companies free advertisement, but here we are. Anyways, I'm gonna see if there are any other messages for the air signs, sun, moon, and rising fully for the highest good, and then we'll move on to the water signs. So anything else for the air signs here? They are giving me the words new growth and showing me a tree as well. I feel like you guys are hitting a new level of growth. I mean this in the best ways possible. Let me see if they'll explain it a bit more here. And this is not for all of you, but they're almost showing me like a baby. And I'm not saying like you've been a baby about things. I really hesitate to say things like that, honestly, to people. But if you feel like you have been babyish about certain things, or maybe you haven't been handling certain things in the best ways, I feel like you're getting the growth out of that phase where it's like you're just a bit more mature about certain things, if that makes sense. You're able like to handle things more acutely is not the right word, it's the word that kind of wants to come in, but more maturely, more readily, just with more grace, I suppose you could say. So I don't even feel like you guys have been immature for most of you. What's the best way to say this here? I feel like you're moving out of these phases where maybe you've been like a baby, if you feel like you've been like a baby at all, and you're just going to be handling things more well, I guess you could say it. I don't know how else to say it, but I think you're just hitting this new phase of growth where it's like you're able to handle things like a wise sage instead of like like a teenager, I guess you could say, or it's like a king in the tarot suites instead of a page, as the tarot readers would say. So we're gonna, anything else for the air sign, sun, moon, and rising? I think that's it. We're gonna move to the water sign, sun, moon, and rising. Hopefully I didn't insult anyone in that last part of the message. And hopefully it was still a helpful message if you didn't like it. But we're moving to the water sign, sun, moon, and rising. So I'm gonna wave so I know when to timestamp it. And so wishing you air signs the best. So if you have a sun, moon, or rising water sign, this message is for you when you see it. So, and I repeat myself a lot when I go through this live with you guys. So thanks for being patient, because if someone's tuning in on YouTube and they're newer and they're like, what's going on? That way they know what's going on. So, because they might just see the video and click the timestamp and they don't hear my explanation. So it's for you when you see it. It's timeless. If you're watching this in the future, if you're watching live, of course, it's for you now. First message for the water signs, sun, moon, and rising. I know we started last week's reading with the water signs with the word flow. We're doing it again, but it's a different message. They gave me the word flow, and they said if things seem like they are flowing downwards, like or on a downward trajectory, they're really not. So they did show for the water signs like just a lot of just like rapid like shifts, like this currents in the water. And if you remember the movie Finding Nemo, they were like the sea turtles who would like ride this like specific like current or like jet stream. It almost looked like that, but it was like there's like a lot of twists and turns, and it almost looked like a McDonald's play place or like Kidland thing. But the message for you guys is like things are actually upshifting, but you may be working through a lot as things do upshift. So if things seem like they're on a downward trajectory, I feel like that's more of an illusion. They're actually going up. You're just working through things as they go up. And so it just seems like things might be going downwards temporarily for a short period of time, like a week at the most is what I'm getting. So I want to get more message on that with like if things seem like they're flowing downwards, and just see if there's anything else they want to say about that before we move to the next message here. So hopefully that is good. If you feel like there have been a lot of like quick shifts and turns and like rapid changes, I feel like you're going to be spat out in a good way, spat out into something just a bit more gentle. And they're giving me the word reprieve, which seems to be a common word for this live today, these readings today, is the word reprieve. So I'm guessing there's going to be some reprieves coming in for a lot of you in different ways. But there is going to be a bit more of a gentle period after that twisting and turning for you, if that makes sense. So, which is good. And you are going to get to a period of time here where everything's moving in the same direction. Like they're showing, like they're playing off the sea turtle thing, but they're showing a sea turtle in the water, and it's like you get spat out of this like twists and turns current thing. And then like all of a sudden it's just like all the water around you is just gently moving in the same direction. So I feel like it's going to be, well, what's the best way to say this? I feel like it's going to be very difficult to go the wrong direction because everything's moving the same way. And I just feel like there's going to be a lot of signs telling you where to go if there is a specific thing you need to go to or direction, because they're showing like this, it almost looks like, you know, those tubes, and like if you go through the drive-through at a bank, they have like the little tube that you, and it's like a little suction cup thing, and you put your money into the little deposit tube, and it like whoop, it goes like into the bank. They're almost showing like a tube like that, but it's open in the water, and it's like you're supposed to go in this tube. There's all these like signs and arrows like pointing to go in this tube, so you'll know where to go if you need to go somewhere specific. But I got lost in the message, so I think I might need to change directions with what I'm saying. What's the message, guys, please? Okay, I would just know things are going in the right direction. You're going to be good. Next message here, they showed me an eagle. Actually, I skipped a few, but that's okay. They showed me an eagle, and the message for you guys is like they're just more of an uplift to your trajectory and more ease on your path, which kind of makes sense with what they were just showing with that water spit out message. You are being lifted above the madness on earth and shown a higher way. Many of you are going to be flying above the turbulence, so to speak, and able to glide to victory instead of a rough and tumbling your way to victory. So I'd say you guys are being lifted above energetic turbulence, emotional turbulence, like other people's problems, if you feel like you've been picking up on that a lot. And I feel like you're going to have more of a bird's eye view of your goals and trajectories instead of being like lost in the madness. And it's kind of like the difference of like, if I were to use a Lord of the Rings reference, like flying to Mordor instead of like walking the path of treachery to Mordor and having to like go through the mountain and get lost in the jungle and like you're like, where am I? It's like you just fly there. Like you see it, you fly there if you know where it is. So I feel like that's coming in a bit more for you guys instead of like trying to discern your way through the jungle of weird events is something I'm getting, if that makes any sense for you, which is good. I do feel like there is just going to be more ease. There's going to be more ease for the water signs. I already said that. This came through for the earth signs as well, but also for the water signs, they just said truth and more truth telling. It is an important time to be telling truth, to be honest and upfront, and to let the chips fall where they may regarding truth. It will lead you to your best life. Honesty is the best policy, so just a reminder to be honest with yourself and others and to tell the truth. I think they came through the air signs. I think right now for everyone, it's just a good time to tell the truth. Let's just be honest with yourself and others and do truth telling. The next message I have, they showed me a hawk, and I kind of already spoke about this, but clear vision is what they said. So you are all going to have a much clearer vision of your future and will be seeing the targets you need to hit along the way. The universe has a plan for you and you are going to be seeing it, and most of you will be running with it. God's plan is being restored, especially if you feel like you fell off of a mountain metaphorically recently or something went wrong in your path. So one message I'm getting is like sometimes we take a detour from like God's plan or sources or the universe's plan for our life, our soul's plan for our life in a sense, and kind of just gain some wisdom on I guess you could say a side quest or on a little detour we took either by mistake or for some reason. I'd say like you're okay. I don't think you're off the path. I think, but if you feel like something fell apart or like you were supposed to take a certain direction and then it just like didn't work out or like the road crumbled ahead of you or something like that, I feel like there's a restoration to your true path is what they're saying. And like they're also giving this message like anything can be healed. If you feel like you fell off your road, you didn't fall off the road, but maybe you just needed to take a detour and gain certain things before you got on the path. But it's a really weird message where it's just like if you feel like you just fell off of the path the universe had for you, it's being restored, and you'll see that soon, I guess, if that makes any sense to you. Next message, they just gave me the words flying high. They just said, you guys will be flying high. So again, the word that's coming through for you guys over and over again now that I'm reading through these messages is ease and things getting easier. So good time for the water signs, I'd say, coming up here with things getting easier. It will be much easier for the water signs to soar than before, where before maybe they had to struggle to keep flight. So again, getting lifted above the turbulence, getting lifted out of the madness, less struggle getting to your goals, less struggle getting to victory. They're kind of giving this analogy of like maybe you felt like you had to get to your destination while like carrying 10 weights on your back and pulling a sled for other people maybe even, or just in general. I feel like you're dropping those weights and like not doing unnecessary things for other people is something I'm hearing. And that could play out in a number of different ways for each of you and things like that. So in some way, shape, or form, less weight on you in that way and just easier time ahead, which is good personally. Next message here, they show me a Viking longship. The message is just victory and nothing is going to hold you guys back, which is good. They did show me an ant, and the word they gave me with the ant was strength. They just said you guys are getting an upshift to your strength, so you can endure any challenges that are meant for you on the road ahead. So this will be easier than you think. Lifting 300 pounds is easier for someone who can lift 320 pounds, even if it seems like a lot. Your path will actually be easier than you think. So in some way, shape, or form, you guys are gaining strength so that like your road ahead is easier. And again, I like that analogy they gave where it's like 300 pounds might seem like a lot to certain people, but if you're already able to lift like 320, 400 pounds, it's like, it's nothing. It's like you can already do it. So I'm getting this message. You guys are strong enough to do what you need to do, and you're gaining the strength so that it's easy for you. It is something they're showing. So hopefully that makes sense as well. The next message here, I think there's a little bit more they want to get to on that one. So what would be high so much for me to bring through on that? On that one here. Okay, I've said this 20 million times, but if things have been difficult for you guys, it's going to get easier on that same message. They show me grasshopper for you guys as well. They just said, do not hesitate to take leaps of faith. It is time. Life is changing and it's time for a new chapter for many of you. Don't give up on your path. This is the time to push forward. So positive message for you guys with that here as well, where it's just time to take leaps of faith. They also said you're going to be seeing yourself much more clearly. I feel like this is just a common theme. It's just seeing things coming into clarity, truth telling, seeing things more clearly. And it does make sense because some of you are watching different signs, like you're one person watching like 2 or 3 different readings. So if some of these messages repeat, just take it as a strong sign on that message. But I do feel like you guys are going to be seeing yourselves much more clearly. So in this way, you can shift how you'd like to, instead of like taking shots in the dark in your personal transformation. So I think you're going to be, I'm getting you're going to be seeing what needs to be changed and like changing it, or like seeing what doesn't need to be changed and like leaving it alone. And, I know sometimes, like, at least in the past, not as much anymore, especially as I got more intuitive and I channel and do that more so now, there'd be times where I'd read self-help books and the author would just be like hammering it away for like a whole chapter or chapters on like this one specific issue. And I'd be like, oh man, this issue, I just need to do, I'd be like, do I even have this issue? 2, I'd start to like, maybe even like mind F myself into thinking I did have the issue when I didn't. So, so sometimes like you have these issues that you're sold that you have. Hi, kitty. I have a kitty. Hi. Do you have something to contribute? And all I'm trying to really say is like, sometimes it helps to see yourself clearly so you know what issues you don't have, and you're not obsessed over an issue that's not even there. I feel like you guys will be gaining that clarity, some of you, or you'll be gaining clarity in the ways you need it to see yourself and make the proper changes or not change things. Next message, they just said, if anything falls apart in any way, shape, or form, let that. Things won't be as serious as they seem, is something I'm getting. If certain things like fall apart, I just kind of laugh at it and just know something 20 times better is coming in, which is also another common theme with this reading. And sometimes these readings, at least leading up to this in general, so we'll see where they go in the future. But that's kind of it for the water signs, sun, moon, and rising. One of the last things they're showing me this mountain with like a wolf or something and like a moon, and the wolf's like howling on the moon. It's like that cheesy Walmart, I don't want to call it cheesy in case you're wearing this shirt, but that Walmart shirt with like the wolf on it, and then there's like the other image of the wolf in the background howling at the moon. And I guess to me in the past it seemed cheesy, and I always think they're like they're kind of funny personally. But if you think it's cool, don't let me talk you out of wearing your shirt if you like it. Don't let my point of view take away from your joy. But let me see where they're going with this message here with the wolf and the moon and the mountain and everything here. If any of you have been in hermit mode, it's time to come out of hermit mode. They're showing me a hermit, like from the tarot card, on the top of this mountain with his lantern. He's ready to come down the mountain, or he's ready to spread wings and fly, or I also show like this rainbow path appearing on top of the mountain, and he's hiking up this rainbow path to another mountain or to a new destination essentially. But the main message is, I feel like if you guys have been in any type of seclusion, you're going to be kind of lifted out of that seclusion and brought to your crowd is something I'm getting, which is pretty cool. I'm also getting a message you don't have to go it alone. I think sometimes when certain people have been through a lot of challenges, they think they have to do everything on their own, but maybe there's more help around them than they realize. So it might be a good idea to reach out to people, whether it's for help on a business or help with your healing or getting an energy work session done or anything. I think there's a lot of help around you if you reach out to people and start to establish those connections. Plus, not always, but a lot of the times people really enjoy helping, especially if they feel called to it, if they feel it's part of their purpose. So don't take away from the joy other people can receive from helping you out or contributing to you is something I'd say as well. That's it though. They do want to do a full channel mode message in a second. I'm going to take a second to drink water and maybe do what else. Oof. So, but I hope all that was helpful for you guys and just resonated and makes sense. I feel like that water sign reading that I just did was a little bit different than the vibe I'd normally, what's the best way to say this? I feel like it could have gone smoother personally, but hopefully it still helped and resonated and was good for you guys. You're welcome, baby mama. These have been great. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm glad to hear it. So I'm going to take a second to drink some water. Very helpful. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Thanks for the reassurance. I didn't mean to ask for reassurance, but thank you guys. So I'm going to move to, they are saying they want to do a full channel mode message. So that's where I directly channel my spirit guides, the angels, and source. My spirit guides did give me a name for them a few years ago, and they gave me the name, the Angelic Collective of Zorbital. I feel like I have water all over my face and beard here. One second. So if you're ever curious about the name, that's the name they gave me. Before they did, they're like, we don't really have names up here, but I understand. Well, they were like, we understand that it's helpful. Or actually, they didn't even say that. They were just like, we don't have names up here, you know that. And then they came back and gave me a name anyways. So that's how that worked. So triple water sign here. That was great. Oh, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me know, guys. You're awesome. Much appreciated. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And I really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate that I get to do this. It's a joy for me, and it means the world that I get to do this. So I'm always super appreciative to hear that it's helpful and it's doing good things for you guys. Otherwise I wouldn't do it. So thank you. Oh, no worries, Destiny. No worries at all. Thanks, Lainey Lethal. I hope it is amazing for you. I'm sure it will be, but thank you. Thank you so much. So glad this is a mutually joyful exchange. Heck yeah, me too. No, me too. So happy today. Went for a hike, saw 3 deer, and just stared at each other. Heck yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like a great experience. Sounds very spiritual too. Deer spirit animal is also a great spirit animal as well. A lot of gentleness. Okay, they keep telling me I need to do the full channel, so I'm gonna jump into full channel mode. For those of you who have been around and seen the TikToks and been in the past few lives, you know what I'm about to do. So pretty much my spirit guides, the angels and source, are going to speak through me directly. So I am going to kind of step out of the way. So I'm just going to take a second to either set intentions or just kind of get in the zone, and they will speak through me when it's time. So give me some time. I'm just going to be sitting here for a second and coughing probably, because I typically cough before I go into full channel mode, and then you'll know when they start. And I want to see if they'll give me a theme for the highest good before I jump in, if that matters here. I'm getting it's about hope and renewal, but we'll see what the direction is. So, okay, we're doing it. Good day, and welcome to this TikTok, and pardon us for jumping in, as it were, for it was time for us to deliver this message directly to you and to deliver the channeled transmission. For part of what goes on with these energetic experiences of the full channel mode experience and message is the energetic transmission and energy work that happens from source, from your highest selves, concurrently, that goes along with the message. So we are also helping you in multiple ways besides just the information that is coming through. There is a lot of hope coming in for this crowd, hence the theme of rainbows and hope and renewal, and we will get to renewal in the future of this message. But there is a lot of hope coming in for this crowd, for you are meant to be healers of this collective, whether you identify as someone who does a direct form of healing or not. You are meant to bring that healing energy through your interactions with others, and you are meant to be a beacon of hope for the collective. For those of you who are high vibrational and hold a high resonance, are actually a lighthouse and a beacon for healing, and you can be a trigger for the healing of others as well as for the ascension of others. And you being you brings hope to the collective and the people around you. And it only takes one instance of the butterfly effect, as you might call it on Earth, one butterfly effect instance of hope for hope to ripple throughout all of humanity. So even just one simple transaction of hope in your experience with another being is actually raising the hope levels of all of humanity. So do not give up on yourselves, on the world, on humanity, for even though certain things might look grim or dark, you are actually at the crux of more light than ever before coming to the planet, and more light than ever before working through you. And your light levels are rising as healers, as spiritual workers, even as people who are simply spiritual, just being on the planet. Your light levels are rising in your hearts, in your souls, and your connections to Source. If you channel in the channeling you do, in the spiritual work you do, there is more light infusing itself with you and all your interactions. So it might seem like there is a lot of darkness on Earth, but there is really not. It's being uprooted, it's surface level, it's leaving the planet. And an age of light is upon you. And we know we've said this before. We are reminding you. It can be helpful to have multiple reminders when some of you are so inundated by all the people around you with the fear that they hold, with the news on your planet, etc. So we are reminding you that you're venturing into an age of light, and things will be brighter than ever before. And we provide this message to bring you hope, in addition to you being beacons of hope for this collective, wherever you are, each of you scattered across the earth. And with the grid of hope that you form, each of you bringing more hope to the planet, you collectively upraise the hope levels on the planet, you bring more healing to people, and you let people see that there is a light, that there is not only darkness, that things are not quite as their stories have told them they are. For there is a bit of a story of darkness that is false going around, a bit of a false narrative. The world is crap. That's not true. Some people might think it is, based on certain personal experiences or what they've heard from other people around them. But some people are simply just reflecting each other's negativity. One person says it and the others just parrot it, and they all just start parroting the same things. And even if it's not true, they either begin to create it because they just parrot off of each other, and they just say the societal normal thing to say. Oh, the weather is so terrible. Oh, the earth is going to crap. Would you not say? Ha ha ha. Joe Biden, yes? Ha. People just say things. They do not even realize what they are saying. That is why those of you who are conscious and consciously channel, are intuitive, speak truth, change the collective so much, because you are coming from consciousness, from the heart, from the soul, from truth, not just reflecting the negativity that has been handed to you to reflect to others, because that is the normal thing to say, or the story that is being fed to you in the news, or the story that your parents fed you, etc. That is why you are the hope bringers. You are getting to the truth. And those of you who are digging into your stuff and healing yourselves, you are bringing more hope than anyone. For you are shifting the collective just by you shifting you. So we are going to move to replenishment. Take time to replenish yourselves. You need it. Do not run yourselves ragged, whether to heal others, to change the world, or for anyone or anything. It's important that you're taking time to replenish and heal yourself. That is what the collective needs as well. You taking time to replenish yourselves so that you are more there for the people who need you, is going to feed millions. And we know this is not a group of millions that we speak to necessarily, at least not physically incarnate. But you feeding yourselves first and resting and replenishing will allow you to feed millions through your interactions, through your light levels. And we do not speak of energetic vampirism, and we do not necessarily recommend that either, ever. We are talking about the light that you feed others as you interact with them, as a being who has done their own healing, who is a spiritual being, who has hope in their hearts, who has truth in their minds. And that resonance you are bringing out to the world and feeding others instead of reflecting negativity back at them, as we talked about earlier. That is why it is so important for you to be taking rest for yourselves as you need it. And if you do not feel like you have the time for it, ask the universe for it. Ask the universe to help you carve out the time and to create it. For if you do not rest, the universe may force you to rest, whether through a sickness temporarily of the body, which can be your body's way of upgrading, by the way. Not always. Some things are legitimately there for you to process or go through. But sometimes your body just needs time to recover, to rest, to upgrade, and you running yourself ragged does not work for your systems, even if in your mind you think it should. That is why we bring you this message of replenishment. So think of the things that are replenishing to you and perhaps even write a list. What are 5 things that are replenishing to you? Whether that's watching oracle card readings on YouTube, specific beverages that are nourishing, going to the zoo, we do not judge, laying on the beach, specific people you can converse with, specific friends or family members. Write these things down and, especially for the majorly replenishing ones, try to do this once a week, one of those things, preferably multiple. You will find your life improving. No one is meant to run on empty. So if you are feeding yourself first, and operating from a full tank, metaphorically, you will find your life improves and improves and improves. Because the quality of your life also has to do with how you feel and your states of being. And when you are replenished, you feel better. And that is what you will begin to reflect to the people around you. And they might begin to ask, why do they seem so happy? Why do they seem so chipper? What's up with them? And maybe in conversation, you can tell them that you replenish yourself, or bring through whatever else you are intuitively guided to bring through. But you make the difference by being the difference. You can talk about personal transformation all that you would like with specific people, but one of the biggest impacts you can make is by transforming yourself and bringing your transformed self around others and making them wonder how you did it. And that will get them to change because they will see it's possible for them. They will see how you changed. And that is one way to transform the world. Simply by transforming yourself. So do not give up on your replenishment. Do not give up on who you are meant to be. And trust that you are changing the world just by being here, just by being a spiritual being here, just by being that beacon of hope and light and shining brightly And you will be called to shine soon, all of you, and your respective communities. Even if you feel like you are alone at home with your cats, you will be called to shine in some way. This group is meant to shine. This group is meant to be that beacon, each of you, your own beacon. And part of what you might find going forward from this message is you are called to shine for others, to be that transformative light, to be that replenished being, to be that beacon of hope. And you might find that even just you being there is going to begin shifting people as they see the difference that you are, how different you have become. It is time to move forward. It is time to stop delaying your change if you feel like you have been. It's time to ascend. So we leave you with that. We wish you the best for each of you. We wish you the highest and best opportunities for each of you to shine your light. We leave you with that. We are signing out. Take care. Whew. All right. Well, I hope that was good. Hope that was helpful and was good energetically too. Thanks, baby. I'm glad to hear it, baby. Bonnie. You're welcome, Destiny. Thank you. You okay, buddy? I'm good. I might just need a second into, water for sure. Heck yeah, Lexi. Thank you. Thank you. Is that really taxing for you? As you get more into it, you do build stamina. I have found that the longer full channel modes, like if I were to go for an hour straight, like that might be a bit more taxing on my system as far as where I'm at right now with it. Though, could I potentially be able to go for longer? Absolutely, with practice. What did I say? My third eye was buzzing and pulsing, so that makes sense. And the thing with channeling as well, when especially like full channel mode, is it can connect you with your third eye more and like activate that. It can also like spark things in you for you to start channeling and like get you to that frequency of you channeling. So it can really open up your own channeling as well when you're listening to or encountering other people doing that full channel mode thing. So a lot of benefits. I mean, it's all benefits in my experience, but fully that is good with that here. Awesome. You are an inspiration. I want to channel direct with my guides like you. Heck yeah. Well, that'll happen. I'm getting that'll happen for you, Lainey, in the right ways for you, in a great way. My purpose in life is going to be a hope for others and be the change people are looking for. Heck yeah. And never be afraid to let that purpose expand from there as well. But I think that's a beautiful, beautiful start, Wayne Chuck. That's awesome. And you're going to do it. I get you're going to do it too, which is awesome. Awesome. Thank you. I needed to hear that. You're welcome. Heck yeah. You guys are welcome. Absolutely. Okay. Well, I'm starting to space out a little bit, so I'm going to see if they'll guide me on what would be best for me to do next. I think it's probably time for me to start wrapping it up with the live is one thing I'm getting. But I love you guys. I really am absolutely just asking, well, what's the best thing for me to do? What's the best thing for me to say here? I appreciate this. I appreciate getting to do this and appreciate you. You guys rock. I'm always appreciative of the opportunity for this, and I'm absolutely wishing you the best for you guys, whatever would be highest and best, and wishing you the best on your journeys. And a lot of you are meant for really great things, so that's exciting too. Can we do a guitar healing sometime soon? Oh, thanks for the paper crane, Lori. Can we do a guitar healing sometime soon? I love you. Like, yeah, I don't have a guitar with me today, but yeah, absolutely. One of the next few lives will absolutely do this. Do you know when your next Reiki 1 class will be? Probably next month. I can schedule one for August. Melissa, if you're interested in taking a class, and feel free to, you can either keep a lookout for that on my website, or you can reach out and I can, through the contact form on my website, and I'll email you once I have that. Excuse me, up and ready to go. If you'd like to do that. Christine 1222. How did I learn to channel? That's a bit of a story. I did just post a TikTok digging into it a little bit as far as like how really the journey started, I suppose. I am in the middle, I guess I'll spill the beans because they want me to tell you. I am in the middle of a course of like creating a course on how to channel. We'll see how I am guided to flesh it out or expand on it. So that's something that might be coming out in the future here as well, because I went to like just create a class for channeling and just to do like a live class, but the second I went to like go create that, they're like, no, make a course. So I'm putting the work in on that. So usually I don't talk about things until they're done, but I feel like I'm pretty far along in creating this, so I think, and they're telling me to, so I'll say it. I was just about to ask how your journey started, like what pushed you to learn about this stuff. I'd say like, what's the best way for me to I'll get into it. The best way I could explain me getting into this, I'd say I always had an interest in spirituality. Like I always was kind of fascinated by it. I grew up Catholic, so I mean, I definitely, like, by the time I got out of Catholicism, which was when I was about 18, or around when I graduated high school, because I went to Catholic school, and I read like the Catechism, which is supposed to explain all the church's beliefs, and I was like, wait a second, you guys are just taking this Bible verse and twisting it to fit with this other thing that you took literally from the Bible, and you're pretty much just twisting it to make it say what you want to say for whatever reason. And then I just was done with Catholicism essentially. But I still like knew, like, I just had enough spiritual experiences where I knew God was a thing, or there was something, like I knew spirituality was a thing. I just wasn't religious anymore after that at all. And I never will be. But from there, like, there's just a lot of different things that came up, and there were a lot of hints from the universe leading me towards this that didn't really all come together until I was about 25. And it's like I'd had like just certain, I think one of the things that led up to it was I had an energy work session, and there was a woman who I just had my first energy work session, and it was probably the first time well, no, it's not the first time I felt energy now that I think about it, because there's all these things that whenever I start to tell the story, I start to remember, and I kind of get lost in this part. So maybe I need to like write it down and get just everything written down so I have it. But there were a lot of hints, and like I'd experienced energy. I'd had some spiritual experiences where I knew I was spiritually sensitive, was the wording I had as a kid, or that my mom gave me as a kid, and things like that, where I'd like just pick up on ghosts maybe, or I went to a funeral one time, and like I just remember feeling like really like happy and like joyful and like uplifted, and which was really weird because everyone in the room was like crying and like upset. And I just remember like one thing that I was told was, well, by my mom, because she's kind of gifted too, but she doesn't really work with it the same way. She hasn't really sat and developed it like I ended up doing, and she's still more Christian too. But she's like, oh, like, yeah, that person who died definitely found heaven, like you could definitely feel their joy or something like that. And I was like, so that's when there was just a lot of hints like that. But there was like a time in more my early to mid 20s where I guess you might call it a darker period of time. And of all people, my mom reached out and was like, hey, like I really feel called to just, I'm just gonna pay for you to go to this conference or whatever, this talk. I really feel called to do it, and I just want to spend money, and I'll pay for it. Will you go? I'm like, sure, why not? And it was this like metaphysical Christian convention, and one of the things they kept talking about at the time, and I'm not really Christian anymore, as you can tell, but one of the things they talk about at the time was, you know, their experiences like hearing Jesus or hearing God, and like it would be accurate, and they just like get the messages for people, and it was just kind of that hint of like, oh, that's possible, that's really interesting. And I was already energetically sensitive, or like I could like pick up on things at that time, so I definitely felt like things happening at like these events and stuff. And to kind of cut to the chase a little bit, there was a second event I ended up going to. I only went to 2 events with that group, I guess, and it was like a men's retreat with like that metaphysical Christian kind of thing. And one of the things they talked about at this convention was like more about their talk. They called it talking to God. And they would talk about their stories of like getting messages for people. And the thing that always annoyed me about it personally, they don't want me to say this. What's the best thing for me to say? The one thing I didn't like in my preference was they just kind of always had like a weird, like, I don't know if you'd call it a biblical glaze, but they just say things weird, like, oh, Jesus is telling me you'll be an advisor to many kings. I'm like, why don't you just get the message like, hey, you're going to be like giving advice and be a guide to a lot of people and like high up places like CEOs, and like there's other ways you could get the messages, but that's me now talking. One thing they talked about in this conference was like, you know, talking to God wasn't just for people in the Old Testament. Like if you're familiar with the Bible, there's all the stories of like God told Moses to do this, and God told so-and-so to go to this city. And they were like, you can do that now today. I was like, what? And so what I found was like I wrote a question to God, and then I got an answer, and I heard it, and it wasn't from my brain, it wasn't from me, it was different. And that was really the kickstart, I suppose you could say, to me channeling. And you know, after about 6 months, like I was questioning a lot of the beliefs that just weren't true, that they would talk about and pound in, that went along, you know, something about that Christian metaphysical angle for me. They just had a lot of things that weren't true, that just kind of brought it down to me. And so I was questioning a lot of those things. And what happened was one woman kind of came into my work at one time, and she handed me a book, and it was this book, her name, if you're really curious about it, Waking Indigo by Nathan J. I don't think it's a super popular book or anything like that. And I haven't really been in touch with her recently, but I actually ended up reaching out to her, and we hung out a couple times and just talked about spirituality and stuff. But this book like just went through a lot of things that like really helped me with a lot of the things that had been on my mind, like just all these things about like concepts like spiritual warfare, and like, oh, like just like all that stuff that the metaphysical Christian community really, at least that one, really talked about. It really kind of tied up some loose ends regarding that, and like answered some questions, and really got me in a better direction for me, because like me talking to God and having that experience really lent itself to talking to my spirit guides, talking to my angels, talking to, I call it source, God, spirit. Sometimes I still use the word God, it doesn't matter. Like it just lent itself towards this work and like intuition and channeling. And so the universe really kind of intervened and got me going in a different direction, you know. But that metaphysical Christian boot camp was probably the way, for some reason, that was the way they got me back into the world and plugged into source and going from there. But so I was kind of led into that and let out of it really quickly. And from there, it's like I really was just, that's when I started to feel crystals, I realized like I'd pick up a crystal and feel the energies. And I had a huge like life blow up at that time. Like I broke up with my girlfriend at the time. And like there's all this stuff happened with just like all these people came out of the woodwork who could channel. I have the kitty coming back again. Hi, kitty. So like I was surrounded by just like I'd go and like meet someone new, and I'd be like, because they'd be into spirituality, I'd be like, oh, like would you mind like just meeting for coffee and we can just talk about this stuff? And then like that person would just end up like channeling to me for like an hour and a half, or like I'd hang out with a new friend that was into this stuff, and like we'd like drink tea and just talk about spirituality all night, and then like they'd end up channeling like the whole time or a lot of the time. So I had all these people like who could channel, and like people who would talk about channeling randomly to me that I knew just met then, or who like were into spirituality but I didn't realize it, but then like since I was getting into it, they were just like, oh, a new friend, you know. So like it just really entered my sphere, and it was something that I started to do as well, where like my guides would jump in and just like stutter messages out. At that time was the way it showed up, because I've had a lot more practice over the years. So from there, like I just had all these, I guess you could say, influences or people who could channel. It was really, to me, it was the universe showing me like, hey, this is important. This is something you're supposed to be doing. And they really pounded that message in as I kept going. Eventually I learned Reiki. And I ended up learning another energy work modality as well, and I ended up working at a metaphysical shop, which wasn't necessarily, in some ways it was a lot of lessons. The owners were not walking their talk, not necessarily the greatest people, probably some mental illness going on there as well with one of them. It's come to light afterwards, that explained a lot. But what's the best way for me to say this? I suppose like from there, the universe led me to the people, the classes, the places, the experiences for me to learn how to channel. Because it was a gift I already had. It was from there, it was honing it in, it was expanding it, it was opening my potential, it was getting the spiritual upgrades and attunements and uncovering it more and getting me the practice with it, I suppose. So whether it would be like conversations I'd have with friends every week where we'd start to channel for each other, or it would be showing up and doing energy work trades with another person learning Reiki, and like we'd practice doing Reiki sessions and getting messages for each other. And like there's just a lot of things I learned, and like people and experiences, and there wasn't really like one channeling instructor that I went to who was like, here's how to channel. It was more the universe was my teacher through all of these people and experiences and things. And especially like there were just like a few things that I felt really helped me channel were attunements from energy work courses. Like those really upshifted and opened that up, and just like learning just from other people who could do it and getting those experiences of one, higher possibilities, but just like seeing it in action and seeing how it worked for different people was helpful. Then of course like getting readings and energy work sessions done on me helped open those things up and get me the information. So I suppose like me learning to channel, it's a lot to delve into because it's just been like the whole past few years. I'd say like for me, it really started in 2017 was when I had more of my first conscious channeling experiences. I don't feel like it got to the place where I was like constantly like channeling. I could channel at any time, get the messages for anyone at anytime. Body pendulum was working perfectly until like 2020, honestly. So it was a bit of like a 3-year journey. And then even from there, I feel like I've improved since then. So I suppose you can keep growing and expanding from there. So I know that's like a long story, but hopefully that made sense and was helpful for you guys as far as some of the story on that. And some of you have already heard it, but Catholic school here too. Never felt right. Yeah, right? So I know I just went on a long winding tale, but hopefully that was still good to hear for some of you. Yeah, you're welcome. That's the quick version. I need to sit down and probably write it out at a certain time, so I just have it more like, here you go, guys, and I'm not like trying to remember 20 different things at once. So anything else I need to get to before we wrap it up here? Not really. So a few other things coming up. I guess I'll just let you know about some of the things coming up now as well. I'm not sure I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with this. I do have a new class next month, like at the end of next month. It's called the 4 Angelic Fires and Energy Tool. It's like a new modality I've been shown recently. So if anyone's interested in that or that feels resonant for you, you're more than welcome to reach out and ask for more information. But it's just another energy work modality I've been shown. I do think I'll be scheduling a Reiki 1 next month. Someone already asked that, so that'll be good. If anyone has already taken Reiki 1 with me, Reiki 2 is later this month too. But there's a lot of other things coming in too that I'm excited about. So I think that's it. That's coming up for me to talk about as far as oh, thanks, Destiny. I appreciate that. You rock. I appreciate you. So I guess those are like the things that are coming up as far as like classes or things, if anyone feels called to it. That's it though. I think that's it for the live. I definitely feel it winding down, but I hope all of this has, I mean, you've all expressed that it's been good. So I'm really glad that it's been good for those of you who expressed that. I hope it was really good for the rest of you as well. And I think I'm going to wrap it up. I think I need to go ground or something. And let's call the autobiography channeling source. That's a little too perfect. I love that. Cannoli Moon. Autobiography would be cool though. I think I should. It might be good for me to document things so that I can put that together later if I feel called to, if that's for the highest good. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, guys. But again, I feel like I'm just starting to talk in circles. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to wrap it up and leave it there. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your Sunday. May the highest and best unfold. May only what's for the highest good occur going forward from here. And I'll see you next time I see you, whether it's on a post or the next live or anything like that. Thanks, Marina. Thank you so much. Okay, you guys have the best rest of your day, okay? Take care.